everyone. This is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do your monthly angel card reading for December 2019. Wow, we're at the end of the year. Can you believe how fast it's gone by? So for this monthly angel card reading, we will be using a card from the Syrian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha. We will be using the Psychic Tarot deck by John Holland for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, will be coming from the Archangel deck. Okay, so I'm really excited because this is the first monthly video. I won't say video because I have done a weekly video here in my new place, but this is the first monthly video that I'm doing in my new place. Hence, there's a blank wall behind me, so give me some time to try to coordinate something here to make it a little bit more colorful. But in the meantime, I'm really excited to be here, a whole new chapter as far as my life is concerned, and I'm hoping a new chapter for you as well. As we're ending the year in the last month, there's got to be some sort of completion here, I would think. So we're going to see what the messages are, but we're definitely coming into a time period of the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, which is the longest night of the year, which has a whole meaning in and of itself. It's a time of self-reflection, a time of going within, a time of being silent. Of course, in the southern hemisphere, you are in the longest day of the year, in the summer solstice, and a time where there's a lot of light and a lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of creativity. But here in the northern hemisphere, again, we're kind of in a withdrawing kind of time period, which kind of goes along with the idea of the last month of the year and a time of completion, at least of the energies of 2019. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the energetic vibration of 2019, because that is what we're coming into a completion phase with. And the universal year number for this year, 2019, if we added that up, is the number 12. And the number 12 in the tarot dealt with the Hanged Man. And it was all about looking at things from a different perspective. And boy, oh boy, did we have to do this year. I felt like we all had a lot of challenges throughout this year. Now, not to say that we didn't have good moments and good things happening. I'm sure we all did. But there was a lot that dealt with our belief systems. And again, our higher mind perspective and how we viewed things. And that could be anything from viewing things on a collective level with what was going on politically or in our country, in our world. And that was also indicated with how we saw our own personal lives and the situations and circumstances that we went through. So again, we dealt heavily with our own belief systems and attempting to expand into a lighter and brighter picture and look at the blessings in any given situation, even in the midst of challenge. And again, to look at how we could look at things from a different perspective, even as we were going through some of these challenges, ups and downs, difficult situations, and figure out what was the blessing in that. What did we gain from that? What strength, what gift, what abundance or prosperity, if you will. What blessing did we gain from each and every situation that we've gone through? So again, it was all about, our belief systems, both on a personal and a collective level. Of course, the number 12 reduces to a 3, and the 3 is about abundance, prosperity, and blessings, but it's also about the expansion principle. And, the highlight of the year 2019 was Jupiter being in its own sign of Sagittarius, and that really expanded, as Jupiter is a planet of expansion. It expanded those Sagittarian types of energies, which does deal with our philosophies in life, with higher learning, with our belief systems, with on a negative vibes, judgments, where we're judging ourselves, or we're judging situations, or we're judging other people or groups. And now, as we move into December 2019, Jupiter is going to make a sign change. So we'll get to that because that's astrologically speaking. Let's come back, rein it in back to the numerological vibration of the month of December. Now, we talked about the overview of 2019 just so you could get an idea of where we've been in this year 2019, what the energies have been for us. And December, from a numerology standpoint, has a universal month vibration of a 24. And that is because December is the 12th month of the year. We're in a universal 12 year, so if we add 12 and 12, it equals 24. Now, when we reduce that down to a single digit, we get the number 6. And the number 6 is all about balance. If you think about a 6-pointed Star of David, an upward pointing triangle connected with a downward pointing triangle, which gives it 6 sides, that is as above, so below. That is balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine. That is balancing all of the aspects within ourselves, our emotional body, mental body, even physical and spiritual bodies. The number 6 is about home and family in numerology. It is about land and property. It's about balancing our inner world, or what's going on an internal level, such as emotionally, with what's going on in the outer world or externally, such as business, career, life path. So a lot of times when we're in a 6 vibration, as we are for the month of December, we're talking about balancing our home and family life with our career and business life. We're balancing who we are at an inner level, the deepest aspects of our soul's beingness, with who we are on that outer level out in the world. Now, in the tarot, I always like to look at the numerology vibration of the month, and I liken it to the major arcana of the tarot. And we only have 21 major arcana cards, really 22 if you count the Fool. The Fool is a 0 card. So 22 in total major arcana cards. And of course, there's no 24th major arcana. So if we reduce that down to a 6, because 24 also is not a master number or a karmic number that we can talk about, but if we reduce the 24 down to a 6, we look at the 6th major arcana of the tarot, and it's the Lover's card. So I'm going to show you the image. This is from the Syrian Starseed Tarot. A beautiful, colorful card here. And, you know, it looks like just a bunch of jumble of colors, but if you look really closely here at the top of the card, you could actually see the man and the woman here, the masculine and the feminine. I know it's kind of hard to discern in this energy, but if you look really close, you can see the man and the woman here. But the Lover's card, at least in this particular deck, is about the coming together of soulmates. It's the coming together of twin flames, specifically. Now, not all Lover's card in the traditional tarots indicate that necessarily. I mean, it is about relationship. You know, that is one aspect of the Lover's card. It's about partnership, relationships, coming together with soulmates or with twin flames. It could be romantic. Sometimes it's mentioned as also business partnerships or other types of partnerships, but specifically romantic in nature. But the other thing that the Lover's card indicates, both in this deck as well as in the traditional tarot, is the alchemical marriage, meaning the marriage between ourselves and the divine, the marriage between ourselves and the universe, source. And it's that coming together, that relationship, that the Lover's card also speaks of. So here we are as we approach the end of the year, we're talking about this connection and this partnership with our own higher soul selves, with universal intelligence, with source. We're talking about that partnership that assists us as we're winding up this year of 2019 and the energies here. Now, the other thing that I feel that the Lover's card is about, because of that 6-pointed Star of David, that geometric shape that has 6 points to it, as above, so below, is that, again, I talked about balance, balancing home and family with career and outer life, etc., balancing your feminine and masculine. And that's what I feel like the Lover's card is also about. It's about balancing the feminine and the masculine energies. And so if we look at that as far as the month of December, this can be both a month of taking action, right action, which is the divine masculine, as well as a month of allowing and being receptive to the blessings of the universe, which is the divine feminine. So also make sure that you're balancing that aspect along with all of the other aspects here. Okay, so balance in all of its forms, partnerships, relationships, the alchemical marriage between you, your higher soul self, and universe or God source energy, and that balance of the divine masculine and divine feminine in your everyday life. Okay, so that is what the month of December is from a tarot perspective. So we're going to talk now about the astrological highlights of the month of December. Of course, those of you that watch my weekly angel card videos, you're seeing week to week more of all of the aspects mostly that are occurring from one week to another. When it comes to the monthly videos, I like to focus in on the biggest aspects, the things that I think are going to bring us a powerful kind of energy, a transformative energy that we really need to pay attention to. And this month of December, we have a lot of planets changing signs this month. And as I mentioned, for most of 2019, we've had Jupiter, the planet of abundance, prosperity, our belief systems, the planet of expansion, in his home sign of Sagittarius. Now, as we begin December, Jupiter is moving into the next sign of the zodiac. Okay, so actually on the 1st of December, he spends his last day in the sign of Sagittarius, which is going to bring kind of a heightening of the Jupiter and Sagittarius energy here. And then on December 2nd, Jupiter is moving into the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn is very different than Sagittarius because Sagittarius is fire and mutable, meaning changeable. And Capricorn is earth, and earth is more grounded than fire. Fire is very creative. It's the element of spirit and creation. And earth is about manifestation and focus and work. Capricorn actually in astrology rules the 10th house, which is about career, life path, destiny path, authority figures, who we are out in the world, how people see us out in the world, the respect that we gain from other people as far as what we have to share and give of ourselves. Capricorn also rules the patriarchal system. It rules big business. It rules politics, and things of that nature. So now we have Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, moving into that earth sign. And it's a cardinal sign too. And cardinal signs are about initiating an energy. So Jupiter is now initiating its energy, its travel for the next year through the sign of Capricorn. So it's going to expand those energies that deal with Capricorn. And because it deals with our belief systems, it's about our belief systems about those energies that are ruled by Capricorn. So our belief systems about the patriarchal system, our belief systems about big business, money, finance, career, corporations. On a more personal level, again, our career, our life path, our destiny path, our sense of inner authority, our sense of work ethic, and our goals and our ambitions and what we're willing to do to reach those goals and ambitions. Now, on the 9th of December, we have Mercury, and it's leaving the sign of Scorpio and going into the sign of Sagittarius. Now remember, Mercury went retrograde in that sign of Scorpio not too long ago. So it has spent an extra long time in the sign of Scorpio. Mercury, of course, rules the mental realm, our thoughts, our ideas, our communications, and logic. And Mercury in Scorpio was very empathic. It was very deep. It was emotional at times. It brought up things from our subconscious because Scorpio rules things that are hidden or secret. It rules the subconscious, our patterns. And so we might have been dealing a lot, especially when the sun was in Scorpio and Venus was in Scorpio and Mars in Scorpio, dealing a lot with the subconscious realm of all of these patterns and emotions that we have deep down within us. But now, on the 9th of December, Mercury moves into the next sign of the zodiac, which is lighter and brighter. It's Sagittarius. Again, it's fire, it's mutable, it's creative, it's inspirational. So our mind, our thoughts, our ideas, and our communications are much lighter and more optimistic and more creative and more inspirational. And Sagittarius, to me, is a great networking sign. So now we're connecting with people of other cultures and other belief systems and other philosophies and just people. You know, we're doing a lot of networking here. And we are sharing our knowledge and our wisdom, as Sagittarius likes to do. They share their knowledge and their wisdom, and they're always seeking the truth. So here, again, with Mercury, the planet that rules the mind, we are seeking the truth. But this is our truth, right? We can't seek someone else's truth, or we can't seek the truth and then tell somebody else that that's the truth. We have to seek our own truth, okay? There's a sense of freedom and even independence when it comes to Sagittarius. And so here, we have to seek our own truth and feel inspired by that truth. And Sagittarius does like to inspire others, and maybe we can inspire others by sharing our truth, but it doesn't mean we're trying to convince someone else of our truth. Okay, so the next thing of importance is actually a full moon on December 11th and 12th, depending on what part of the world you're in. It either occurs on December 11th or the 12th. And this is a full moon at 19 degrees of Gemini. Now, this is the last full moon of this year. We do have another moon cycle, but it's going to be a new moon here later in the month of December. So this is the last full moon of December. And it's in a sign that rules the mental realm, Gemini. Gemini rules logic and ideas and communication and the mental realm. And of course, the full moon is very emotional. So now we have this mix of emotions with the full moon, with our sense of logic or analyzing or needing to have the facts, communicating with other people. So we're going to be communicating perhaps about our emotions and thinking about our emotions. This particular full moon is in a separating square or challenging square to Neptune. Now, Neptune is about illusion, confusion, and delusion. It does rule the spiritual realm, but because it's a challenging aspect, we're going to look more towards those things that are more of an illusion and unseen or intangible. Now, it is a separating square, meaning that the full moon occurs at 19 degrees of Gemini. Neptune at that point is going to be at 15 degrees of Pisces. So the full moon will already have passed that degree, meaning that as the full moon is building up, it's going to connect exactly with that Neptune. So the week preceding the full moon, which is pretty much the first week of December, it might be filled with emotional confusion or lack of clarity on some level, because that's what Neptune kind of brings to the table. The other connection that the full moon makes at 19 degrees of Gemini is with Venus and Saturn at 19 degrees of Capricorn and Pluto at 21 degrees of Capricorn. Now, Venus rules partnerships, relationships, money, finances, the divine feminine. Saturn rules a feeling of restriction, limitation. It rules third dimensional time. It rules patience. It rules responsibility. It rules authority, and it rules this sense of karmic patterns or past life karma in some ways. And Pluto, of course, is the planet of death and rebirth, transformation and change, transmutation, transmuting lower vibrational energies, and transcending, like the Scorpio rising from the ashes. Now, those three planets are together, Venus, Saturn, and Pluto. So that packs a powerful punch by itself. As we get further along through the month of December, Saturn and Pluto will become even closer together, and when we get to January 2020, it'll connect exactly, which we'll talk about next month. But the fact that Venus and Saturn and Pluto are all together very closely, and the full moon is in what is called a quincunx aspect, or some astrologers will say an inconjunct aspect. It's an aspect of adjustment, meaning that the two elements here, Gemini being an air sign and Capricorn, where Venus, Saturn, and Pluto are, is an earth sign. They don't really go well together. They don't blend well together. This is why it's an aspect of adjustment. Something needs to be adjusted in order for these planets, these signs, and the planets within those signs to work out. So there's something to be worked out here. And Venus, Saturn, Pluto to me is very transformative and dealing with some sort of karmic patterns or past life patterns, perhaps regarding relationships, partnerships, finances, money, and I'm even going to throw in our career path, our destiny path, because it's Capricorn. And that's what that rules as well. So the full moon coming up, again, we have to adjust our way of feeling, our way of thinking. There's there's emotional triggers that are happening, and there's something karmic here that we need to like see from a different perspective, or adjust our actions, or adjust some aspect within ourselves or within the circumstances we're in order for it to flow more freely. Also on the day that we have that full moon is Chiron, the wounded healer, going back to direct motion. So all this first few 11, 12 days of December, we're feeling Chiron at a standstill, bringing up old past life wounds. And if it's touching something in your chart, even more intense with that. But Chiron in Aries is bringing up past life wounds of our sense of self, our sense of self-identity, our sense of confidence and courage, take charge ability, our aspect of wanting to plant new seeds and boldly go off into new directions. That's Aries, new beginnings. So now with it at this standstill and turning back to direct motion, that's heightening the energy of that full moon as well. So it's going to be a very powerful first 12 or so days of the month of December. Of course, as it moves back to direct motion, the energy can then be projected more in our outer circumstances rather than when it was retrograde or at that standstill. It's really kind of internalizing that energy, which is why it's bringing up a lot of woundedness. It could even bring up woundedness on a physical level. Chiron is physical, emotional, mental, spiritual wounds that it's bringing up. So just be aware of that and do what you can to kind of do that self-nurturing, self-healing aspect, okay? And then the next thing we're going to talk about, just briefly, I'm not talking about a lot of the aspects, but I do want to mention that on the 15th, we have Jupiter in a positive trine aspect to Uranus. And I feel like that's important because Jupiter, again, expands the energies. It just, as of the first or second really of this month, went into the new sign of Capricorn, and it's now in a positive connection to Uranus, which is the planet of the God mind, the planet of the sudden and unexpected, the strange and unusual. It's about forward movement, it's about scientific discovery. Uranus just rules this kind of electrical kind of burst of intuitive insight energy. It's kind of claircognizance. I feel like it's all the clairs, but claircognizance, really, of opening up that crown chakra and having a download of universal energy. So Jupiter's going to expand that. Jupiter's going to expand this download of universal energy. It's going to expand this shocking, unexpected redirection, freedom-oriented, independent sort of energies of Uranus. And Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, which is a money sign. It's a sign of personal resources. And Jupiter now is in Capricorn, which rules career, life path, destiny path, who we are out in the world. So look for some real big expansion and movement to happen for you in those areas of life. Okay. And then on the 19th, 20th, again, depending on what part of the world you're in, Venus is moving into the sign of Aquarius. Now, as we mentioned, Venus rules love and partnerships, and it rules money and finances. It rules the divine feminine, and she's now moving into the sign of Aquarius, which is the sign of the humanitarian, the sign of coming together with groups of like-minded people to make the world a better place and do something wonderful for humanity. It's a very intellectual sign. Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, so it has that kind of knowingness or channeling of higher vibrational or higher dimensional energies associated with it. So I feel like this bodes very well for the divine feminine, the collective of the divine feminine, coming into the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the new age, the sign of these higher dimensional energies of freedom and independence and being in a space of high communication with the higher realms. Okay. Venus, as far as partnerships and relationships, she's very independent. She can be very objective and independent. And even I want to say a little bit more logical when it comes to relationships. She has no problem just kind of standing on her own. When it comes to money and finances, that part of Venus, ruling money and finances, this could bring in some sudden redirections, some new insights as far as what needs to be done next or what direction to go in. So pay attention to that. And then on the 21st, the sun makes its yearly transit into the sign of Capricorn. So it's going to be in Capricorn for the next month. So it joins, Venus now has just left Capricorn and went into Aquarius the day before the sun moves into Capricorn. But we still have Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter all in Capricorn. So now we're into a heavy Capricorn kind of energy. Then we come to that new moon on the 25th, 26th. Yes, it's on Christmas. Okay, so depending on what part of the world you're in, it's either on the 25th, Christmas Day, or it's on the 26th. And it's not just a new moon. This is a new moon solar eclipse. So this new moon solar eclipse occurs at 4 degrees of Capricorn. So it's early Capricorn energy. And of course, a new moon is about new beginnings. The eclipse energy heightens and intensifies the energy of that particular moon cycle. And again, new moons are about new beginnings. Now, in the first half of January, we're going to follow that up with a full moon lunar eclipse. Okay, so we're now entering this eclipse season, which again intensifies and quickens growth, evolution, movement, and redirection in our lives. In Capricorn, this new moon, life path, destiny path, goals, ambitions, who we are out in the world, owning our sense of inner authority. This particular new moon solar eclipse is going to connect with, in conjunction with, the South Node and Jupiter, and then make a positive aspect to Uranus, which is in Taurus. So the South Node is about the past lives, past life karmic patterns, etc. And past life karmic gifts, talents, and abilities too. And Jupiter, of course, is that planet of expansion, as we keep mentioning. And with this new moon solar eclipse at 4 degrees of Capricorn, connecting with the South Node, which I believe is at 8 degrees of Capricorn, and Jupiter's at 5 degrees of Capricorn. And then, of course, Uranus is at 2 degrees of Taurus. So there's a very interesting, positive, and powerful kind of configuration there with this new moon solar eclipse. Again, eclipses can bring in sudden unexpected, the connection to Uranus, which is going to, again, happen just previous to the solar eclipse, brings in sudden and unexpected circumstances and redirections as well. So look for something unexpected, perhaps, to occur and maybe break us free of something, break us free of a limiting situation or belief system or energy dynamic. Something is happening there that is very potent and powerful. And then on the 28th of December, Mercury is moving out of Sagittarius and now into the sign of Capricorn as well. So Mercury moved rather fast through Sagittarius. It went into Sagittarius on the 9th of December. Now by the 28th, it's now moving into Capricorn. So now we have Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all in Capricorn. Look for some things happening through this time of December and moving into January, when we have, again, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. We have another eclipse coming up the first half of January. There's things that are happening with big businesses, with political figures, with the patriarchal system, the old way, the old paradigm of energies. There's going to be some huge shifts that start to occur on those levels. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, I didn't show you your stones of choice, did I? My goodness me. Okay, so now we have to backtrack. I was going to say we're going to start the reading, but let's look at your stones of choice. Okay, so the first stone of choice is this beautiful peacock ore. Okay, isn't it beautiful? It just kind of sparkles. I love this. So the peacock ore is a stone of happiness, and it leads you towards positive directions, and it helps you to see the joy in every moment and to accept that you are exactly where you need to be at any given moment, and that everything is unfolding in divine timing. So it helps you to accept that and know that, okay? The second stone of choice is ruby zoisite. And the zoisite is the green, and then you can see the ruby aspects in there. There's different little, what do I want to say, inclusions of the ruby in there. So the ruby zoisite is a stone of happiness, appreciation, abundance, vitality. It opens up your heart chakra to divine love, okay, a higher state of love. And it gives deep healing to some of the heavier emotions that we might be carrying. And then your last stone of choice is this beautiful chrysocolla malachite. Okay, chrysocolla is the blue part, the malachite is the green part. And this stone is supportive. It's a supportive goddess energy stone. Supportive goddess energy, the divine feminine again. It inspires verbal expression and positive communication between men and women. Okay, so again, if you're in relationships, if there's been some relationship matters happening in the last few weeks, this helps to inspire verbal expression and communication in a clear and loving way for men and women. And this is also a stone that helps to open up the throat chakra, which is again clear and authentic speech and communication. All right, so those are your stones of choice. Now let's go and look at the reading for the month. Okay, so the first card, okay, we start out with a Major Arcana 21, the Universe card, which is a card of completion, as we've been talking, that December is the last month of the year. We're bringing something into a sense of completion. Jupiter has just completed its cycle for the last year in the sign of Sagittarius, his home sign. He's now moving into another sign, which is going to bring a new beginning on some level to the Jupiter energies anyway. But here again, we have the last full moon of the year. We have a new moon solar eclipse, starting eclipse energies, which is always about huge endings and new beginnings. So it's not surprising to see the Universe card here to start out this monthly reading, okay? This is about energy on a collective level. This is about completion energies on a personal level. Wherever there's endings, there is new beginnings. So just realize that. And the endings could be situational. You know, there could be circumstances or relationship matters, family matters, financial matters, career matters that are coming to completion, and that you're getting ready to redirect or gear up for a new beginning. But the completion or endings could also be within yourself. It could be about old patterns, old emotions, old ways of believing or acting, or projecting yourself out into the world. Those energies also could be in a state of completion and getting ready to kind of rebirth. You're getting ready to rebirth yourself, your identity, in a new and more positive direction that's more in alignment with your inner truth and where you're going next as far as the next step on your path. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful way. I love this card. Don't you just love how it looks there with the imagery? Now let's take a look at the second card. Okay, we have another Major Arcana, and this is Major Arcana number 18, and it's entitled The Shadow. I know there's a little bit of a glare there from the light. This is the Moon card in the traditional tarot, okay? And the Moon card is about our emotions, our emotional body, our feelings. It's about the subconscious. And a lot of times with the Moon card, in this case it's called Shadow, it brings up the shadow aspects of our personality, our fears, our anxieties. And you can see here that there is what looks to be a higher religious authority figure here. And here he's bathed in light, and it's almost like his mirror image, as if he was looking in the mirror, but the mirror image is more of the shadow. It's more of, if you want to call it, the dark, but I like shadow better. So it's like we're reflecting things, and I feel like with our emotional nature, we often reflect things in our relationships to one another as we grow and evolve as souls. We use our friends, our family, our partners to reflect those fears and anxieties that we need to move through and heal, and those aspects where we need to grow and evolve as a soul. Now, we don't always have to reflect within our partnerships, but I feel like that might be a big part of it in this month of December, especially because we got the Lovers card as the vibration for the month of December, okay? But this is about, I feel like, coming into balance with your shadow. Remember, the number 6 for the month of December is heavily about the shadow, or excuse me, about balance. It's about balance, balancing the divine feminine and the divine masculine. It's about balancing our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. So here we're balancing these various aspects, and here we're balancing our higher soul self with our ego self. Okay, so we didn't mention that earlier, but this to me would be representative of the light self, the higher self, the spiritual self. And we're needing to balance that with our lower self, our ego self, our shadow self, knowing that that is an aspect of us, that we can't shy away from it, or we can't dislike it or disown it. We all have that aspect, those aspects within us. And so it's more about recognizing the shadow and even comforting the shadow, if you will, but to bring healing and acceptance and acknowledgement to the shadow so that we can kind of merge these aspects of ourselves together and become whole and move forward. So the moon, again, to me, this would also indicate the full moon and the new moon solar eclipse, because it is the moon card in the traditional tarot. So those lunar cycles of the full moon in Gemini and the new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn is going to be a very important time for some of these endings and new beginnings that are indicated by the universe card. So very powerful reading so far. And we do have just one more card. Oftentimes, I know that some of you that watch my videos know that a lot of times there's more than one card that comes out. Even though I try to pick 3, there might be 4, 5, 6 cards. But we do have one last card, and it also is a Major Arcana. Interestingly enough, it's the Balance card. In the traditional tarot, this is the Justice card. And in the Justice card, she's holding the scales of balance, right? And when you're talking about the scales, you know, we want those scales to be in a balanced place, which is why the Psychic Tarot calls it the Balance, or Major Arcana Balance. And this is exactly what we're talking about, with Major Arcana 6 being the ruling card of the month, and 6 is about that balance. Home, family versus career, life path, you know, divine feminine, divine masculine, the higher soul self, the shadow self. So we're all about balance. And this to me would indicate, with it being the last card, that we're successful into bringing these aspects into balance. Or at least it's a strong reminder to move towards that way, to stay in a place of balance, to not allow yourselves to react, to not allow yourselves to look at things in a black and white manner, to not allow yourself to get pulled too far one way or the other. Okay, it's all about staying in this place of beautiful balance here. And I'm looking at some of the aspects here, and it's interesting too that the imagery in this card is we have a sword, we have a chalice, we have, looks like a fire star. Oh, actually, it's a pentacle. Sorry, that makes sense. We have a sword, we have a chalice, we have a pentacle, and we have a rod. Those are the elements of the tarot. The swords, the mind, air. The chalice, the emotions, the heart chakra. The pentacle is about earthly matters of career and money and finances. And the rods is that spiritual aspect of creation and spirit and spiritual growth. So here we're asked to balance all of these aspects, all of these elements, if you will, because it does represent air, water, earth, and then fire, okay, in that order. So we're balancing the elements within ourselves, within our lives, as well as balancing other aspects of our lives as we move forward here. The number 11 also in numerology is a master number. So this is the number of the light worker, the number of the visionary, the number of someone who's independent, leadership oriented, and take charge oriented. But yet, if you add the 2 ones together, it brings the number 2, which is about balance, partnership, equality. Okay. So let's look at your special message card depending on your stone of choice. For those of you that chose the peacock ore, I'm going to close my eyes so I don't see the bottom of the card so much. So peacock ore, looking for, and I got to open my eyes a little bit. This one here is calling my attention. You are safe with Archangel Michael is your message. And it says, I am protecting you against lower energies and guarding you, your loved ones, and your home. And I'm going to add your career path as well. It just feels like destiny path needs to be added there. So Archangel Michael, he's the warrior angel. He, to me, kind of emulates this master number 11 somewhat here, this take charge leadership, oriented nature. And Archangel Michael is that warrior angel that's going to cut away all lower vibrational energies, karmic patterns, situations out of your life that are no longer in your highest and best interest as you move forward on the next step, as you move forward towards the completion cycle of this year and get ready for a new beginning that is going to be initiated as we enter 2020. So know that you can call upon Archangel Michael at any time. If you feel like you have, energies that you want to release and let go of, call him in. He can kind of pull those cords and release those energies. He can surround you with this divine light of protection. So call him in if you're going into a situation or you're needing to have a conversation that you're a little nervous about. Call in Archangel Michael to surround you with that protective energy. So he's leading you to the next step on your highest and most important destiny path. Call him in as that warrior soldier of the light to give you confidence and courage to make that movement forward. Okay, then for those of you that chose the ruby zoisite. Okay, ruby zoisite, this one's calling my attention. Patience. Okay, that's a Capricorn thing there. Patience with Archangel Raphael. Your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. Still, they need nurturing and patience. Okay, not surprising with Saturn and Pluto, and earlier in the month, Venus, later in the month, the Sun, Mercury, being in that sign of Capricorn, which rules third dimensional time and space. Okay, it's not a sign where there's quick results. Okay, it's a sign of patient, step-by-step progress, which is why Capricorns are very good at being patient and working step-by-step to reach their goals. So this is a time to have patience and to organize and to take those steps to kind of build those building blocks of a sense of a solid foundation for yourself as you move into 2020. Don't look for any fast or quick results this month. There may be a couple of times where there's a couple of aspects that might bring something quickly in. But know that this is a process. That's another word, another P word here is process and patience. As you're tending to the seeds that you're planting or have planted, okay? You're watering those seeds, you're loving those seeds, you're making sure they have enough sunlight, and they will grow. They are blooming rapidly, but you still have to have a little patience, okay? All right, and then for those of you that chose the Chrysocolla Malachite. Chrysocolla Malachite people. Let's look at, not seeing the card yet. This one here. Oh, breathe, Archangel Raphael. This makes me think of Chiron, the wounded healer, and that there's something happening there with Chiron, and our angels and guides are even saying with the full moon, as well as the new moon solar eclipse. There's going to be times throughout this month to where things get a little bit chaotic or a little bit emotional. Of course, Archangel Raphael is the archangel that deals with our emotional bodies, healing of the physical body and emotional body, our heart chakras, relationships. So this is about taking a breath and just, breathing, becoming balanced through breath. And the message says, take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy and to release old patterns. So Archangel Raphael is assisting you with this releasing process in this last month of the year. And during specific times this month, with Chiron moving direct and the full moon connecting with Venus, Saturn, Pluto, and with the new moon solar eclipse, there's going to be times here, ebb and flow of just needing to release crystallized emotions and energies within the physical and emotional body. Yoga is really good for that. Yoga with the breath, or just doing breath work, or just doing meditation where you're taking in those deep breaths. Very good for helping to kind of break up old energies and just kind of release it and let it go. In fact, I visualize that. I'm breathing in golden white light of God's source energy universe. And as I exhale, as I'm breathing and I exhale, I'm releasing all lower vibrational energies that I no longer need to hang on to. So that's something that you'll want to practice as we move through the month of December. So thank you all so much for watching the extended monthly angel card reading forecast. Stay tuned for the weekly angel card readings throughout the month of December. Thank you for sharing and subscribing to the channel, for commenting on my videos. Thank you for all of you that have supported me in various ways as I've made my own transition and move, through your loving and kind thoughts, through your gifts and donations, and etc. And I just really appreciate each and every one of you. I'm grateful and thankful for each and every one of you, and want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, no matter what it is that you celebrate. And we'll see you later this month with the weekly forecast, but we'll see you in the next year, 2020, with the next monthly angel card reading. So blessings to all of you. Mwah. Namaste.